Hi, welcome to Just Us Up North. Today we are going to be canning some 15 bean pizza soup. And what's really interesting is these beans are so beautiful looking, nice big variety of beans. And you can buy 15 bean soup mix, and that's the beans that we're going to be using. These are rinsed and ready to go. We got our jars washed and prepped and ready to go here. And then we chopped a few ingredients. We've got onions and garlic, green pepper, a couple of different types of mushrooms, and we're going to be using Italian sausage. I did measure out these beans, half a cup per jar, because these are dried beans. And again, you know, canning with dried beans is not an approved canning method, but this is just what we do. So I'm going to start with a half a cup per jar. And I want my cheater top there. And I'll get a half a cup of beans per jar. These really do look pretty. Might have been just a little shy of a half a cup. Alright, now we're going to split these up. And it's not exact science and it won't be exactly even, but I'm going to try and keep it as even as possible. If I have extra, I'll then split it up between them. And it looks like one large onion worked out to be just about 7 jars. I will put the rest of these in. You don't want to waste any goodness. And I'm going to do the same thing with the peppers and the mushrooms. We just had a little bit of pepper goodness to split up. And now the mushrooms. Two different kinds of mushrooms here. Okay, now I have extra mushrooms left, but because I am just about to a half a jar, I am not going to add any more vegetables because we still got to put the meat in here, and we want to top it off at right about a half a jar so we get enough broth in there to cook those beans when they're canned. Okay, and then my last pre-cooked ingredient here, or only pre-cooked ingredient I should say, is this Italian sausage. And I'm going to put that in each jar, splitting it up. And when we get all this done, we're going to make the broth. All right, let's get our broth going.
All right, now let's get the broth going. I'm gonna turn the stove top on here, and we're gonna start out with some beef broth, some homemade beef broth. Dump that in first. And we have homemade spaghetti sauce. And we have a jar of just use up. Good way to use that up. So in goes that. And another quart of beef broth. I'm going to use just a little bit in here to get all of that other sauce out of there. This is pretty thick stuff. There we go. Get all that goodness out of there. And now I'm going to measure out a half of cup of oregano. That looks like enough when you factor in my spillage there. So there we go. Now we're going to let that come up to a light boil. All right, it is just coming up to a very light boil, so I'm going to give this a little taste test just to make sure that we like it. Oh yeah, very flavorful. A lot of good flavor in there. I don't think we need to add any salt. It's just, I think the flavor is just right. So let's move on.
Oh my goodness. I wish you could smell this. It smells amazing. So we're going to fill up each jar. We're going to leave a 1-inch headspace and then debubble and see if we need any more broth in each jar. Oh, that smells wonderful. I'm debubbling them as I go along in case they need a little bit more. Oh, can you see how good that looks stirred up? Beautiful. And this one needs just a little bit more. We are on our last jar. We ended up doubling the sauce. So I recommend that you double the sauce to have enough for 7-quart jars. And it looks like double is just about right.
It is time to just give these a wipe with a moist paper towel just to make sure there's nothing on the rim of the jar that would prevent it from sealing. And we will get our lids and rings on. Alright, we are getting these ready to go into the pressure canner. And these are going to process at 10 pounds of pressure for an hour and a half because we want to make sure that the beans are cooked, and that is also the recommended time when you have meat in your product.
Oh my goodness, it smells really good, like pizza in here. These are amazing soups to have on hand. All you have to do is crack one open, heat it up, put it in a bowl with some shredded mozzarella, some garlic bread on the side, and you've got a healthy fast food dinner right at home. Oh, I wish you could smell these. It looks like they all sealed already. So if you give this a try, let us know. We'd be curious to see what you think if you give it a try. Until next time, be blessed.